as well as I understand it, would be no more burdensome and most likely somewhat less burdensome as far as overall trip generation than the fully occupied use of that building as general office.
Thank you.
Can I
Go ahead,
clarify a question? So what you're saying is, I'm assuming this is from some kind of industry standard.
Yes,
how
yes.
You
it's the,
come up with.
yes, it's
So,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, so you're using a tradition, when it says 43,000 square foot church.
Yeah.
You're using it, that's a traditional church.
The church is basically the trip generation manual is produced by the Institute of Transportation Engineers. It's updated periodically. And they calculate trip generation based on the ground empirical studies, volume studies coming in and out of facilities of different types of land use. And then they all kind of have to fit into that same type. So you lump all churches together, general office together, medical office together, so forth. There's a pretty extensive set of sort of rigorous methodology you have to follow to submit a study for this. They're done all over the country. And then they take those and they run a statistical analysis so you can do sort of a fitted curve equation to all those different data points. You get an average rate and so forth based on all of these different studies. The church category is looking at all sorts of different churches and synagogues, although it would be as representative as I'm assuming, as the diversity of churches in the country. In most cases, you're probably looking at facilities, and if you look at the trip generation numbers, you're looking at facilities that are used more in the sort of large event on Sunday sort of usage, and then throughout the day for administrative, weekdays for administrative, and some class use. So I'm not sure, and from my understanding of how the Church of Scientology will use this facility, I'm not sure that's the best model out there of how it will use for traffic. So I was sort of comparing everything back to general office, which is what the building is right now.
So based on your opinion and your understanding of how a Scientology church works, the trip generation is more consistent with a typical office building than a typical.
It seems to be, and I basically broke it down into a mix of what they had said was the square footage would be used for sanctuary, and basically ran it as a calculation sort of at peak usage as you would for a church, and then as a mix between basically office and classroom. And I believe I used for the classroom as a model, I used there's a junior community college, which seemed to be the best fit for adults coming and going at different times for classes. As the best equivalent that I could come up with, and based on that, and as at least provided in one of the earlier square footage breakdowns, that was the best model I could come up with that I could feel confident with, that was how the building would be used, and it was directly comparable to using the entire building as general office.
As the building currently
as the building is currently used.
All right. Mr. Boykin, you want to start us out?
I have a couple things on the alternate conditions that I think are housekeeping. So if we do go with this or the other one, I want to make sure that these are taken care of. Underneath paragraph 2D,
Which set of conditions, paragraph 2?
I'm on the alternate. 2D, the little double I, after the word that a future purchaser, I think we need to stick in there lessee or any change of use. And if we should consider these alternate conditions, there needs to be a special condition that we would have that stipulates that this is not to be used as a basis for any other zoning in Sandy Spring. These conditions.
If I my calculations, that would be number 4 on the alternate conditions if that's adopted.
That would be fine.
Not to be used as the basis for any future zonings, is that what you're?
That's correct.
Okay.
Did you mean the way the parking was calculated?
That's what it's mostly referred to, yes.
Anything else? And we'll come back to you if you got more questions on this.
Yeah, I think I'm going to let Mr. Thacker go next.
Thatcher?
Thatcher go next.
I'm not too sure even why we're considering the alternate conditions. I'm really having a problem with that. We said our piece a couple of months ago. We established where we thought we were going with this request, and then to have this come back to us as a so-called negotiated conditions just hasn't sat very well with me since I heard about it, and now that I see it, I just have problems with it. I'm going to go all the way back to Sandy Springs and why we were created to protect the neighborhoods. I have 540 people that have said they are opposed to this because of the traffic and the parking. 540 homeowners, I should say. And I think that everybody in this room now understands it's all about traffic and parking and not the use. So from that point, just simple math and what the passenger load of the normal automobile in the city of Atlanta, which is about 1.2, and if we have 81 parking spaces, that equates to about 96 people in that building, not 289. I don't pay my taxes to Sandy Springs to have police protection to go out and check on the churches. I want them going after the bad guys, not the good guys. So all of that wrapped up together, I'm just absolutely adamantly opposed to these alternate conditions. Have problems with the initial conditions, but from the get-go on this, I have been opposed to this, and when it comes time to vote, I'll vote against it.
Mr. Major, I think you want to go after him.
I would just like to say that I'm not comfortable with how the parking calculations were done. And that's not normally the way that we do it. And I believe that 81 spaces is not enough for 283 occupants, and it's not enough for 44,000 square feet of density. And that if we approved it, we would be creating a huge negative impact to the surrounding neighborhoods. And there was a good slide that showed about 7 different neighborhoods that are directly in this area.